Hi friends, welcome to Viju Guys Teaching Cafe. This is a short video lecture about the theme David Easton's input-output analysis. So in the previous YouTube video lecture, we have come across system theory being developed in political science on the food lines of behavioral movement. So this lecture is part of the series in which several political scientists in the American part of the world tried to propose new models of analysis in political science. That's it. David Easton has proposed an interesting model of political analysis, and his model is called input-output analysis. So David Easton was a Canadian-born political scientist. He came to the United States in the year 1943 and was a distinguished research professor in the Department of Political Science at the University of California. He was a former president of the American Political Science Association. Sometimes, American Political Science Association was far prestigious than International Political Science Association because it was comprised of many outstanding political scientists of the era. And he was also a past president of the International Committee on Social Science Documentation, and he acted in the American Academy of Arts and Sciences for years. He was very active in that association. So at the forefront of behavioral and post-behavioral revolutions in the discipline of political science during 1950s and 70s, 1950s, 1960s and 70s, David Easton was a phenomenal figure and a prominent figure. Sometimes system approach was synonymous with the name of David Easton. So he gained a reputation for proposing some interesting analysis by which political science has found a new direction, has found a new acceptability, found some new intellectual movement. So Easton's prime time in his career, he spent it for bringing some profound changes in the discipline of political science. And you see, by the time Easton was in his prime time, he was in his productive academic life, the world was facing so many problems. It was experiencing profound challenges, profound changes. You can see there were world wars, 2 world wars, and interwar hate ideologies like fascism, Nazism. Cold War occurred, and nuclear bombs were invented. Weapons of mass destruction were invented, and also several environmental issues began to resurface in different parts of the world. But Easton, as we have said in the previous lectures, felt that political science wasn't in a good position to understand many of these problems. So he was thinking of proposing alternative theories by which political science can better understand what is ailing the discipline, and he was looking for some alternative theories in political science. The result was some political system model. The result of his search for new approaches, new theories in political science resulted in the development of system model in political science. So David Easton presented the input-output analysis in his article titled The Analysis of Political Systems, which was published in the journal World Politics in the year 1957. And from 1964 to 1979, David Easton has been able to publish 3 volumes of very important books concerning his theory of political system. One was the political system, published in the year 1964. The second one was a framework for political analysis, published in the year 1965. And the third book, titled A Systems Analysis of Political Life, published in the year 1979. So friends, political theory those days, or political system theory those days was almost synonymous with the name of David Easton, as I told you a short while ago. So in this article, for example, David Easton argued that he argued for developing empirical theories in political science by which political scientists can analyze political life in a better way. So he himself called it an alternative approach to politics. He said political science should be brought out of the hold of economics and probably of psychology. He wanted to make a strict theory of politics. He wanted to bring in a theoretical consciousness, a sound theoretical consciousness, a theory that has too much connection with everyday realities, ground realities of human life. So he said the study of politics means how authoritative decisions are made and executed in the society. That's what, he was in search of some sound theories that has touch with human life. So he was also in search of the subject matter of political science, because he was dissatisfied with the way in which how political science develop theories in the discipline. For example, when you think about economics or sociology or any other disciplines in social science field, you can see that the subject matter is clear. But for David Easton, he was dissatisfied with the subject matter of political science, because he was dissatisfied in the way the content was developed in the discipline. So he proposed that in political studies means how authoritative decisions are made, executed in the society. That is what he says constitute the subject matter of political science. So he wanted to study how authoritative decisions are made and executed, and he wanted to study how decision making process are being taken, and he wanted to study every piece of every aspect of the process in which decisions are being made in the society. So he says study of politics is the study of institutions such as political parties, interest groups, government, the way in which people vote. He also says the study of politics is also the study of the consequences of political practices such as manipulation, propaganda, and violence in the society. He further says we can also study the whole structure in which all these things can occur. So he says we can call political life as a system of activity. So he was drawing inspiration from biology, anthropology, sociology, economics, and so many other disciplines, and bringing tools from all these disciplines into political science, by which he was proposing a new theory of political science. So he was introducing a general system theory into political analysis. So he had drawn tools from mechanical, electrical engineering, biology, and other social sciences, as I told you a while ago. So he was in the view that we can separate political activity from other areas of social activity, at least for analytical purposes. So he proposed what may be called the input-output model of political analysis is a distinct understanding of what exactly constitutes political life. So otherwise it is also called the black box model of analysis. So it is also called black box model of political analysis or input output analysis. So his political system model, that is input output model or black box model, is like a small box which consists of two sets of inputs and one set of output and a feedback between input and output. This is his black box model. So the formula here is very simple and illuminating, because there are input to the political system and there are process in the political system called output. So for him, input had two parts, the demand part and the support part. First of all, we can classify the demand part of input. So the input has two types, one is demand and second is support. So let us classify the demand part of the input. So input goes into the political system, and also input has two types, there are demand that goes into the system and also support that also goes into the system, and it will face a conversion process, and through the conversion process output takes place. Output is decisions or policy outcomes, and once policy outcomes are being put in the society, there will be feedback that people will see what kind of decisions are being made and they experience it, and people will have their own feedback, and the system know what is the feedback by which another time when input goes into the society, the system will bring in output according to the expectation of the people. So that way input output conversion feedback, a cyclical process. So demand means there are different types of demands in the society. So you demand for the allocation of goods and services. You want roads, you want good infrastructure, you want good communication network, you want good transportation network, health service, you want some kind of educational facilities in the society. So you have so many demands in the society, so that they are called people will demand for allocation of goods and services. So you want for more educational opportunities, recreational facilities, better transportation. So these are some kind of demands for allocation of goods and services, demands for goods and services. Second demand, according to David Easton, is that regulation of behavior. That is people demand that the system should ensure safety and security of the citizen. They want a change in the marriage system or change in the marriage laws, or they want regulation or improvement of the health and sanitation facilities in the society. So they want some kind of regulation of behavior. So these are a second type of demand. Third type of demand is that sometimes people may demand for better and wider participation in the affairs of the state. Many people demand that their names are to be included in the voters list. Sometimes your names may be removed from the voters list. So you demand that your name should be there. So people should also demand for change in the election system. You also want to participate in the electoral process or in the democratic dialogues. You will have demand for civic participation. So fourthly, many citizens demand for information from the authority. You want information from the authority, information relating to the management of state affairs, information regarding foreign affairs, information regarding some decisions being taken in the cabinet or in the parliament, or you want information from about the agreements your nation state has entered into with another nation state. So these are demands. There are four types of demands. There are demand for regulation of behavior, demand for goods and services, demand for better participation in the affairs of the state, and demands for information. These are demands. So you put these demands into the system. And there are supports. There are two types of demands. There are two types of inputs, demand and support. And Easton says, when you study political life, you should also study how supports are being poured into the system. He says that there are different types of supports. So first one is that citizens support the political system by paying tax. When you pay tax, system will function properly. If you don't pay tax, system will not function. So how you obey laws. Second is how you obey laws. The student of political science should know how citizens obey laws. A third is that the system may prevent other persons from disobeying law. You may prevent others from other persons from disobeying laws. The system should prevent that. People should not, system should prevent other people from disobeying laws. And fourth is that voluntary participation in various affairs of the state. Citizen voluntarily participate, or system voluntarily participate. System means people voluntarily participate in the various affairs of the state. And fifth is that you will lend support to government in the adoption and implementation of policies and schemes. You give approval, you give moral support to the government for taking some kind of decisions. And seventh one is that if some people, sixth point is that if some people place illegitimate and unreasonable demands, a rational section of society opposes it. And argues on behalf of the state authority that irrational demands should not be considered. So your civic sense is also very important. When some other people make some kinds of demands to the system, and you are a rational citizen, you know that these kinds of demands cannot be tolerated and this should not be met, and system should not consider their demands. So this way you can also show your civic sense. And how people put demands into the system, how people put support into the system is very important part of political analysis, David Easton believes. So, on conversion process, David Easton says that when you put demands into the system, when you put support into the system, there will be conversion process. Friends, what is conversion process? It is a process, conversion process that takes place within the system. He was viewing that within this political system, there will be a conversion process in which political system converts input into output. Very simple. It comes through the process of a selection, limitation, or a rearrangement. That the system will select some demand, limit some demand, or rearrange some demand. So the conversion process operates dynamically because the selection can take place over a period of time. The selection, limitation, or rearrangement can take place over a period of time. So the conversion takes place dynamically. And the conversion process depends upon the capability. The political system should have capability or ability to meet your demand. Otherwise, system will collapse. So, therefore, political system go for extraction of resources, regulation of behavior, and control over individuals and goods. So, system will put effective control over resources in the society. Otherwise, system cannot meet your demands. Clear? And output. So you have input in the way of demand and support that goes into the political system, and within the political system it goes for a conversion process. After the conversion process, output will be there. That output means demands are the sources of output. There is a chain of action and reaction in the political system. In any democratic society, people first all place certain demands. You want so many things, the system should give you all these things, and you will have certain claims before the government, and in response to these to the claims or demands, the political system takes action, and this action may be positive or negative, and this is called output. They are policies, decisions, and responses of the political system towards input. Several possibilities may occur. What are them? First one is that authority accept your demand, and upon acceptance it takes certain decisions. This is a very common procedure. Second situation is that authority thinks that the demand is unreasonable and irrational and unfit for acceptance, then it summarily reject your demand. The second situation. This is also a common picture. Third one, you put certain demands, but authority neither implement your demand nor reject it, and it simply keep it in abeyance. And a fourth scenario, it may also happen that in the judgment of authority, your demand is quite reasonable, but it is for the moment not possible to meet all your demands. In that case, the authority promised to consider your demands favorably in future. And a fifth scenario can occur. The authority may take political move in order to counteract the demand you have put forward. It employs its own supporters to propagate against your demand. That is, the political system conspires against you. That will also happen. So these are the 5 scenarios David Easton put forward when there will be output. So then there is feedback according to David Easton. You see, a new mobile is in the market, and the manufacturer wanted to know the responses of the consumers, whether it can be accepted, whether people will accept it, or whether people reject it, and so on and so forth. And so that manufacturer can update the product in future in order to meet expanding consumer expectation. Otherwise, the product will find a natural death in the market. So feedback is same in political system. That precisely speaking, the feedback is the interconnection between input and output. So the concept was used in electrical engineering to denote the transfer of energy from the output of an electric network to its input. So David Easton took it from electrical engineering. So we can call feedback a process of conversion in which input is converted into output, and again output act as input, which is again turned into output. Very simple, that you put certain demands. You want certain kinds of quality in the education. You want quality in the health infrastructure. You want good communication infrastructure, good public delivery system. And you put forward certain claims and demands on these aspects. And the system took certain decisions in form of output, some policy responses. And after the policy responses has been taken, you are having certain kinds of disagreements over the decisions being taken by the political system. So you express your concerns. And later, after knowing that you have these kinds of reservations about the policy outcomes or output, the system will update or bring amendments to the decisions that has been taken by the political system. This way, feedback is very important in political system. Therefore, David Easton says that whenever there is input and output, there will be a type of bridge or connectivity between input and output, that he calls it is feedback system. So in political system, the conversion mechanism is not that easy. So the demands and the supports for the demands and support passing through a roundabout process are converted into decisions. So your demands and supports are converted into some kind of decision. The process is complicated because many factors sometimes interfere with the feedback or conversion process. It takes time. Moreover, the authority of the political system may not be willing to take quick action to satisfy your demands. So even the decisions may not satisfy the common man. So there are other aspects of conversion process. It is some extent mechanical. So in any pluralistic society, it is very common feature that people will have grievances. You will have grievances if you are born in a pluralistic democratic society, which sometimes assumes the character of demands, and your elected representatives convey them to the government, and in turn your government will take a decision. There is no novelty or exceptionality in this process, and most probably because of this feedback decisions are being taken. So David Easton says that you put the demands, and you put demands through your elected representatives or through some other mechanism, and authority takes a decision, and the decision after the decision is being taken, people will send their feedbacks. So this is somewhere mechanical according to David Easton. This process takes place everywhere. This process takes place in any political system. This takes place. This happens everywhere. This is a very universal feature in every political life. So the agitators or people demanding in excess of their necessity, and the political system take action in accordance with the ability. The initiators of feedback system have dynamited the concept. In all democratic structures, Demands are very frequent. You people raise so many demands and the government keeps itself alert about the demands. The fact is that no responsible and democratic government can maintain silence over your demands. Clear? So, but therefore, there is a problem of the stress. David Easton also proposes the theory of stress. That Easton has said that political system is an open system, and because of this system, it is always subject to stresses coming from the environment. There may be two types of stresses. There are demand stresses and there are support stresses. That is, demand may be too high, but the system cannot allocate resources to the expectation of the people. That is called demand stress. There may be support stress in the sense that people are not paying tax, not paying laws. Then also there will be support stress. To meet the stress, system have, in order to meet the stress, system have devised gatekeeping mechanism, that regulation of behavior. So political system applies gatekeeping mechanism by way of political maneuvering to manage stress. So few considerations are to be looked into here when there is the stress in the political system. The political system can ignore the stress. Yes, system can ignore the stress. It can keep them in abeyance for an indefinite period of time and it can take no action at all. Third, the political system can challenge the stress or demands and say that it will not take any action to fulfill your demands. And fourth scenario is that the authority of the political system can say that the government will launch a political fight at the political level against the stress. That political system may conspire against you in order to meet the stress. So David Easton further says that every political system has certain features. That is, first one is that he says that properties of identification. That is, you can identify a political system by analyzing the unit of political system. There are structures, and every structures have different actions, strict actions related to the political realm. There are boundaries to the political system. That is, every political system have a definite boundary, and within the system environment, political system has a clear boundary with that of economic system, culture system, religious system, so many other systems. And another one is that in every political system there will be input function and output function. People make demand and support, and authority will take decision and policies. And differentiation. Another feature is a differentiation. What is differentiation? There will be clear work or labor or functional differentiation existing in every political system. That every layer, every factors, every elements in the political system will have clear functional specialization. So there will be legislature, lawmaking body, judiciary, interpretation of laws, and political parties. They will represent the people. These kinds of differentiation of function. Integration. Another feature is that every components in the political system may be connected to each other in a systematic manner. That is integration. And fifth point is that political system will be an open system. Since political system is intimately related to the environment and other social system, it is not dissociated. It is not separated from other systems. It is connected. It is connected because your political life is connected with the social life. Your social life is connected with the religious life. Religious life is connected with the legal life. No, everything is connected, right? So it's just like different parts of human and animal bodies discharge their duties systematically, and this leads to an equilibrium position, that there will be equilibrium in the system. If any part or suborgan fails, that will create disruption in the whole system. So in political system, an equilibrium regularly operates. Friends, this is the whole idea of David Easton. David Easton was trying to propose a very mathematical model of political life. And he was trying to that wherever you go in any part of the world, you will see that these kinds of system function, and you can understand political life in a very systematic way and propose theories that can be credible, scientific and testable, verifiable, so on and so forth. That is what David Easton says. So he proposes so many concepts, theories such as input, output, gatekeeping mechanism, demand stress, support stress, also conversion process, something like feedback, political system. See, several concepts are being proposed, several ideas are proposed, and boundaries, differentiation, integration, These are all different concepts proposed by David Easton, and he proposed a very mathematical, statistical model of political life. This is what the system model of David Easton, or input-output model, or black box model of David Easton. Friends, please raise some questions in the YouTube comment box. Stay happy. Thank you.